Tonight, we combine your kids' safety, your tax dollars, and the fear of the unknown all rolled together in one story. About 6 weeks ago, the City of Columbia approved a building code mandate that kind of flew under the radar.
At face value, it seemed like a good idea. However, in reality, it represents a money pit for the Columbia School District that will last forever and ever. And the odds it will actually provide safety for your kids is mathematically slim to zero. Yet, which is more important, your money or your kids' safety? We begin this story where the story literally begins, at Grant Elementary School. Built in 1910, Grant needs a new cafeteria.
This is moving, pretty new to us, and we're moving along with it.
Chris Davis is the architect for this new add-on. What's in those walls?
Oh, concrete right now, a lot of reinforcing, a lot of steel.
In 2 years, Grant will feature the district's first ever FEMA-type tornado safe room.
I think it's important to make it not look so institutional, so, rock hard and rigid, which concrete can be.
When finished, the cafeteria will look like a cafeteria, not a concrete bunker. Sure enough, the winds of Joplin 5.5 years ago have reached Columbia.
Putting costs aside, it really is about creating safe environments for all of our students.
The City of Columbia now requires any new school to build a FEMA-type shelter. They're large and they're expensive. And like Grant, any add-on addition that's 25% or more of the existing space, it must have a shelter too.
While it sounds, wow, this is what we should be doing, the reality is it is almost impossible for us to be able to do something to that level.
The kids at Grant represent fewer than 2% of the district's entire enrollment. 2 kids get a shelter, 98 others do not.
That's the catch for a community, of our size. You couldn't build just one. I mean, that's not realistic. You would have to build several.
It's a strong tornado.
Because when a tornado is on the ground, you can't move kids from building to building.
The likelihood that a student living on one side of town would be able to use a shelter on another, given the size of our community, no.
We went to City Hall to find out if the school district knew anything about the mandate.
Well, I don't think there were significant discussions. I think probably even through the grapevine, the educational community was well aware that this mandate was coming.
What's coming is a financial burden.
When you're weighing safety to cost, it's hard to come down on the side of cost.
That's a school crushed.
Ever since Joplin, FEMA has awarded many Missouri districts millions of dollars to build shelters. In nearby Versailles, FEMA paid $2.7 million for this performing arts center / safe room. In Salisbury, FEMA paid $1.5 million for this high school gym, which doubles as a shelter. Columbia has already been turned down twice by FEMA, making Hickman's new gym a shelter, likewise Rockbridge. There are 567 school districts in Missouri. Since Joplin, only 3 K-12 districts have built shelters with their own money, no assistance. Caruthersville and the Boot Heel, along with Forsyth and Galena south of Springfield.
So we're going to build a storm shelter.
A nearby district is joining the list.
We are not getting any financial assistance. Wasn't any FEMA money for us to be had. We already have.
Kevin Freeman is Mexico's superintendent. They're not cheap.
No, they're not cheap.
Mexico voters approved a bond extension to pay for 3 shelters. Freeman understands why paying for future Columbia shelters is entirely different.
Such a large district spread out over such a large area. When you put a shelter at one building, now your folks are saying, well, what about our kids at this building? And what about our kids at this building? Because we even had that here in Mexico, small as we are.
Back in Columbia, there are 2 loopholes. Build add-ons small or build outside the city limits. However, that might be perceived as putting money ahead of safety.
Do we think that, this new zoning requirement is important? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And we could probably do some of those things on a smaller scale.
Remember the third element to this story, the fear of the unknown, the tornado itself. We leave that to former Joplin Superintendent C.J. Huff.
In Joplin anyway, we certainly wouldn't wish off what happened to us to anybody. I mean, it was a terrible disaster, and the loss of life and destruction was just unthinkable. And frankly, the cost of tornado safe rooms at that point would have looked very small in comparison to the losses that we would have sustained in the way of human life.
You cannot put a price tag on human life. You can put a price tag on these shelters. They're 10 to 15% higher than a typical school. To pay the additional cost, districts can cut here, cut there, or try a bond issue which falls on you, the taxpayer. Are you willing to pay extra for a shelter on the other side of town?
Here's what's happening right now. Police have issued an Amber Alert for a boy and girl possibly abducted in Warsaw, Missouri. Police say a 9-year-old boy named Gabriel Longley Wilson and a 7-year-old girl named Serenity Longley Wilson were abducted about 6 o'clock this evening.
Here is a photo of the woman from the Benton County Sheriff's Department. Her name is Carmelita Maria Wilson. She's 39 years old, 5.5 feet tall. She might be driving a red 1998 GMC Jimmy with Missouri plates CL6X4F. Call police if you know anything.
At Columbia City Hall right now, there's a public meeting to discuss downtown Columbia parking, and closing sidewalks might come with a cost. KOMU8's Amanda Henderson is live outside City Hall to explain what this fee could mean for downtown developers.
Now, the fee has been discussed since June of this year, but tonight was the first chance that the public had to formally address the issue. Now, if this were to be passed, it would charge developers to close public sidewalks. Now, the majority of the people in this meeting were in favor of the idea, but they want to see the fee be fairly structured. So that way, small businesses don't have to pay the same as a large company.
You know, that's one of the things when we started reaching out to our businesses and our interested parties, those members that are in the development community. We had a couple meetings with them, and the amount of folks that showed up and some of the concerns that we brought up.
The charges will be based on how much of the area is closed as well as how long the area is going to be closed. Reporting live downtown Columbia, Amanda Henderson, KOMU8 News.
The needs of a city while keeping costs down for taxpayers is a challenge. The goal of Columbia's third and final wastewater workshop tonight was to devise an action plan to send to the City Council. KOMU8's Joe Jada is outside the Arc where the workshop was held.
The meeting ended earlier this evening, actually up behind us in this room here at the Arc. Just to recap, the first of these workshops focused on how stormwater and wastewater systems have affected residents' homes. The second of those workshops focused on the city's streams and water quality. And for the action plan discussed this evening, the city wants to determine how to best allocate those resources for improved wastewater and stormwater systems. One of the main objectives for the action plan is centered around sustainability, which may be easier said than done.
Infrastructure is very expensive, and so it's good whenever we can do these long-range plans, because then we know what's coming. We can maybe start doing things over time instead of having a big rate increase to get a whole bunch of things done all at once.
Kaplowitz characterized the action plan phase as a balancing act as to achieve what the community wants at a favorable cost. At this time, there is no timetable for when the plan will be submitted to the City Council. Reporting live in Columbia, Joe Jada, KOMU8 News.
The Columbia Regional Airport manager left just 2 months after being hired. After we received a tip this morning that Tamara Pitts was no longer in the position, we looked into it. A worker at the airport confirmed she was no longer working there as of last Friday. After we made several phone calls to airport and city officials trying to find out why Pitts left her position 6 weeks after she was hired, we got no response. Then the city sent out this press release saying the city is disappointed to report Tamara Pitts has resigned from her duties. We also spoke with Columbia Community Relations Director Steve Sapp, who said Pitts resigned due to a personnel matter he couldn't discuss further. Sapp also said that daily airport function will remain the same while they look for a replacement. Well, it was certainly warm start to our school week. Kenton is here and says it's going to warm up even more. Let's check in with him for a look at our forecast.
Brittany, thank you very much. And we were warmer today. High temperatures here in the middle 60s as expected. And for the rest of our night, of course, we're cooling down. We're reaching just into the lower 40s, right around that 40-degree mark here by sunrise. Going to have some chances for fog tomorrow morning as well. Otherwise, we are warming up to around 70 degrees here on our Tuesday. And it's going to be even warmer here on Wednesday and Thursday, both 73, though, on Wednesday. And we're going to keep a lot of the sunshine at least through Friday. That's when we're going to see our next chance chance for a cool down, and we're going to see some showers and thunderstorms there as well. I think this nicely shows just how drastically our cold temperatures are going to roll in. 77 on Thursday. That's a high temperature of 46 degrees, folks, on Saturday. I'm going to have the full forecast tracking everything you should know hour by hour coming up later.
MU is working with local principals to help them deal with the tough stuff.
And a group of Mid-Missouri employees might be required to switch to hourly pay. New federal labor laws are forcing some Columbia Public School employees to switch to hourly wages. Parent educators who visit homes to teach parents about the school system will now be paid by the hour. The school board voted unanimously for the switch after the U.S. Department of Labor increased the salary needed to pay overtime for certain jobs. The district's deputy superintendent is pleased the resolution passed because of the program's importance.
Any program that strengthens families strengthens our communities. Parents are a child's first teacher. So the more we can do to help them be effective in their roles, the better it's going to be for all of us.
The spokesperson for the Parent Educators Union was not available to comment on the change.
For the next 4 years, the MU College of Education will research how principals can maintain and improve their school safety. Earlier today, the college received a $4.1 million grant. According to MU, more than 22% of children ages 12 to 18 say they've been bullied in school within the last month. 17% of high school students say they've seriously considered attempting suicide within the last year. The College of Education hopes the Safe and Civil Schools Leadership Program will decrease those numbers. 60 different schools around the Washington area will implement the program. The program will focus on working with principals to show them how to collect, analyze, and use data from their schools.
Coming up after weather, will the Trump presidency affect international students?
And a local program wants to make sure everybody eats this Thanksgiving.
Welcome back to KOMU 8 News at 10 o'clock. Thanks for staying up with us. Here's a look at our time lapse from the Missouri River today. Had a little bit of fog out there over the river, and now high temperatures in the afternoon. We're in the middle 60s, 65 for that high temperature. A lot of blue sky. Nice look at that super moon here once again for another night. And temperatures now right around 50 degrees there at Rocheport. Let's take a look at our temperature trends in the next few days, though, because we are going to be well above average. Our average for the week ahead is right around 54. We are at 73, about 10 degrees above average here on Wednesday, about 20 degrees above average as we head into the day on Thursday, of course. And then we're at 65 on Friday with some showers and thunderstorms rolling through. Gets about a half an inch of rainfall there. And then we are dropping way down after that cold front for the weekend. But it is going to be more seasonal, at least for this time of year. Now, we are not going to break any records, at least not quite yet. We're at 77 on Thursday. That's the forecast there. But the record's 78. I think there is a good chance that we could tie it, if not beat it. So as that moves closer, or the system as a whole moves closer, we'll really get a nice handle on how much we'll actually warm up. And again, there is still that possibility that we could get closer to that 80-degree mark. But we're 6 degrees warmer right now in St. Louis than we were this time yesterday. 2 degrees warmer over in Kansas City, giving us a temperature of 56 in St. Louis and 52 in Kansas City. Surprising maybe for a lot of us. We actually saw a cold front roll through mid-Missouri today, and you can still see you can see it is still just getting down towards the boot heel at this point, with winds right on from the west in West Plains and from the west in St. Louis as well. They're from the northwest, so in Kirksville, northerly winds behind this right on from the north over there in Kansas City. And there were some showers and thunderstorms right along that I-44 corridor as that cold front started to push through, but we did not see any rain here in mid-Missouri as expected. And now we're just waiting for our new weather maker, our next weather maker, and it's just over here in the Pacific Northwest. It's going to brew a little bit over the Rocky Mountains and eventually push through on Friday. We can track this hour by hour with Weathercast. Again, just a few passing clouds here over the next couple days, but a lot of sunshine expected, and this warming trend does continue as that cold front, as you can see, pushes off towards the east. And as we head into our day on Wednesday, not only are we going to have a chance for some fog, both tomorrow morning and Wednesday morning both, but we're of course warming up even more as some snowfall goes over parts of Wyoming and a lot of the Rocky Mountains there. Good news if you're a skier. But here's Thursday afternoon, another 24 hours, and it's going to be right here in Missouri. Not the snow though, even though it will be cold behind it. We're just expecting showers and some thunderstorms as well. At least for the start of the event, we could see some thunderstorms. And by the way, Friday is going to be our only chance for this rain activity. By Saturday, the cold front is pushed through, and we're going to see high pressure build in behind that stable atmosphere. So we're sunny for the weekend, but cool. 39 for that low temperature by sunrise tomorrow morning. And looking at our fogcast as well, you can see some dense fog is going to be a possibility. Seeing 0 miles here in Columbia possibly tomorrow morning. And again, that's going to be a possibility as we head into Wednesday morning as well. So 2 days here in a row of fog, which is very as seasonal also for fall, is multiple days of some fog. Otherwise, 69 for that high temperature there by tomorrow afternoon, right around the 70-degree mark. Warming up even more here for Wednesday and Thursday. Closer to the 80-degree mark on Thursday. Then we're down to high temperatures in the middle and upper 40s on Saturday and Sunday, and low temperatures in the middle and upper 20s, giving us a hard freeze across the state of Missouri all weekend long. So the end of growing season is upon us, which is actually a little bit later than average.
That forecast is as crazy as some of the forecasts like in March and April and May, where it's just up and down, up and down.
The changing seasons for sure give us a bit of a roller coaster.
All right, Kenton, thanks.
Yep.
This Thanksgiving, as in years past, the Columbia organization wants to feed the hungry and honor its founder.
Plus, a look at what Donald Trump's presidency could mean for international students.
And a look at your lottery numbers. Good luck. The number of international students in the U.S. has officially topped 1 million as of this fall. KUMU8's Marissa Rubino is here to tell us how American politics could change that number.
MU has seen a 29% increase in international students between 2011 and 2015. The majority of those students are coming to the U.S. from China. If enacted, Donald Trump's controversial immigration policies could affect students with visas. I talked to an Australian exchange student who told me his peers are worried about the future for foreigners in America.
I certainly think there's some trepidation. I know quite a few international students who are very worried about being in America during this election cycle with the policies that the Trump campaign had put out, and I think a lot of people are worried now.
DiStefano called the political climate in America much more extreme than what he grew up with in Australia. Reporting from the newsroom, Marissa Rubino, KUMU8 News.
The Columbia community is the focus of one organization's Thanksgiving this year. As always, the Almeda Creighton Community Program will host the 19th annual Everybody Eats Thanksgiving meal, and it's looking for donations. Creighton, a former city councilwoman, devoted most of her life to the Columbia community. Everybody Eats was designed to make sure no one goes without food on Thanksgiving Day.
When you witness it, it's very heartwarming because people are working together, laughing together, eating together. And so it's a time where this event helps remind all of us we are one community.
Everybody Eats pays tribute to Creighton, who passed away a few years ago. For more information on donations and how you can contribute to the event, you can visit KUMU.com.
Now, from the Ford Sports Desk, KUMU8 Sports.
Hi everyone, the Missouri Tiger 5-game losing streak is over. The football team celebrates a win after topping Vanderbilt 26-17 Saturday for the first SEC win of the season. Now the Tigers look to be spoilers as they travel to Tennessee Saturday. The Tigers are 3-1 against the Vols since joining the SEC. Mizzou saw improvement on both sides of the ball Saturday. Wide receiver Jamon Moore had a pair of touchdowns, and defensive end Charles Harris was a bright spot with 2.5 sacks. Tiger coach Barry Odom is happy with how Moore and the team rebounded from a tough early season SEC slate.
He's got to understand that he's going to be a marked guy going into, if I was the defense coordinator going against our guys, we're going to know where number 6 is, and we'll try to take him away. And he's got to understand that he's got to play within the system and the scheme, and your time's going to come.
I'm so anxious and I'm so excited. I'm so caught into the moment that I'm not able to relax and just play the game and let the game come to me, or even attack the game. So I just feel like in those big games, I've learned that don't be so anxious. Just play the game like any other game.
Even with the win, the Tigers struggled to put points on the board in their kicking game. Odom today did not list a starting kicker on the depth chart for the first time this season. Freshman Tucker McCann missed 4 of 5 kicks against Vandy. He was replaced by Ben Tesson, a walk-on who was not even listed on Missouri's game day roster. McCann has just a 45.5% field goal percentage this season, last in the league. Odom says McCann will still handle kickoffs, but everything else is up in the air.
From a kickoff standpoint, he'll continue doing that. And then tomorrow in practice and again on Wednesday and Thursday, we'll evaluate every kicker we have on the roster and see if we can get the right guy out there to kick an extra point or a field goal.
Despite his early season struggles, Charles Harris at defensive end has come alive lately, and the SEC named him Conference Defensive Lineman of the week after he had 2.5 sacks, 3.5 tackles for loss, and a forced fumble. With his 2 sacks last week against South Carolina, Harris now is up to 8 for the season. He had just 4 sacks in the first 8 games of the season. Tennessee's Derek Barnett leads the SEC with 10 sacks. Missouri will see him Saturday in Knoxville. After a close call against Abilene Christian Friday night, the Missouri women's basketball team back on the floor taking on Nebraska tonight in Lincoln in the WNIT, and Mizzou hammered the Huskers. The Tigers get 18 from Sophie Cunningham. She and Sierra Michaelis alone outscored Nebraska. Sophie had a double-double with 10 rebounds as well. Her fellow Rockbridge graduate turned Missouri Tiger Sierra Porter also had a double-double with 10 and 10. The Tigers advanced to play Thursday night in the WNIT semifinals against the winner of the ball game between Colorado State and Washington. Fans of Mizzou wrestling will get to see the team up close this week. The Tiger Wrestling squad announced it will hold a practice at the MU Student Center Wednesday from 3:30 to 4:30. Everybody loves a winner. Could be a big turnout there in the middle of campus for the powerhouse 5th-ranked Tiger Grapplers. Open practice. Missouri has won 5 consecutive conference crowns. The Tigers started their season with a bang over the weekend, 36-3 over Old Dominion. Levon Mays, his 100th win at Mizzou, while Olympic bronze medalist Jaden Cox, who represented the United States, won his match by decision. The Tigers, ranked 5th, will host number 6 Virginia Tech at Jesse Hall, 1 o'clock on Sunday. The season is over for the Missouri soccer team. It lost to Kansas in the NCAA tournament Sunday, but at Columbia College, both the men and women are still alive, just getting started in their respective national tournaments. Both teams won their conference tourneys, so now they go to NAI national play, and the tournament fields for both men and women announced today. The women will host their opening round games Saturday at 5 against Kansas Wesleyan. The Cougar women's team has not allowed a goal since September 28th, outscoring opponents 49-0 since then. Meanwhile, the men will travel to Ohio to take on the University of Northwestern Ohio. That match also to be played Saturday, but earlier in the day at 2 o'clock. That's sports.
Coming up on KOMU 8 News today, we'll have a look at the logistics of using military drones.
And opinions on whether they should use the machines. That's starting at 4:30 a.m.
And Tim's going to be talking about some fog, possibly dense in some areas. We're at 39 there for that low temperature. Then we're at 69, right around 70 by tomorrow afternoon. We're going to see a lot of sunshine here pretty much all week until Friday. We're even warming up as well, close to 80 on Thursday. And then we're just in the middle 40s on Saturday. It's weird that I'm saying almost 80 on Friday and then 25 on Saturday night or Saturday and Sunday mornings, really.
I feel like Wednesday, Thursday might be a good time to get outside and put those Christmas lights up.
You could.
Before it gets too cold.
There you go.
That's our time for now. Thanks for joining us.
Have a great night.